The next feature of a scientific calculator, which is very useful and you probably need to use it often, is the powers. So how can we use the scientific calculator to find different powers? Let's say I needed to calculate 5 squared. Well, we all know that is 25, but how do we do that with the calculator? So you just need to type in 5, and the calculator has got a square button because it's quite often used. So this one here is the square button. And look, on this natural display screen, it does look exactly like you would be writing it on a piece of paper. So then the answer is, as we expected, 25. How about if I wanted to find something like 2 to the power of 3? Again, this is quite commonly used, so there is a separate button built in for it. So I can type in 2, and the cube button is in here. So 2 to the 3, as we expect, is 8. Now, what happens if I wanted to type in a little bit more complicated powers? Let's say I wanted to find out what is 3 to the power of 5. So 3 is the base again, and to any power whatsoever, I can use this button. So what happens now, if I press it, a square appears there with a cursor flashing there. Now I can just type the 5 in, hit the enter, and I know now that 3 to the 5 is 243. Now let's take powers to one step further, because we know that in mathematics we can have fractional powers. For example, I can have something like 7 to the 2/3. Now how can I tell that to the calculator? Well, the beginning is the same, 7 raised to any power, but now in the power I want a fraction. So here is the trick. Now I press the fraction button, and voila, there is a fractional power there. All I need to do now is tell the calculator that I want the specific fraction of 2/3. So 2 goes at the top, come down, and 1/3 comes to the denominator's place. And that's equal to 3.66 rounded to 2 decimal places. One more thing. What happens if I wanted to do 4 to the minus 4/5? Start with your base, press it to the power, and because now it's a negative number, I can use the negative sign. Now remember that I can use either the negative sign or the subtraction button. They both gives me the same thing. And then I need to press the fraction, because I need to tell the calculator that I want it to calculate a fractional power. So numerator is 4, come down to the denominator, which will be 5, and then hit the equal sign. So this will be 0.3299 to 4 decimal places. Now that we looked at the powers, how can we undo them? Meaning, how can we use the roots? So for example, let's say you needed to calculate the root of 17. Now on the calculator you can spot that there is a square root button. The important thing is here now that I need to press the root button first and then tell the calculator what number to calculate the root of. So root 17 will be root 17, and then using the SD button I will be able to get the decimal answer. This one is equal to 4.123 to 3 decimal places. Now one important thing is here that if I wanted to calculate root 17 minus 5, both of them being under the root, I can just simply calculate that and put it in there. So that would be root 12 as we expect. which is cancels down to 2 times root 3. Again, the calculator automatically gives you the simplest form. But what happens if I wanted to calculate root 17 minus 5? Now, the difference here is that I'm going to calculate root 17, and now I had to press this button to tell the calculator to come out from underneath the root, and then I can type in whatever I want. So that will give us a different answer, which is to the decimal equivalent, again using the SD button, will be minus 0.88 to 2 decimal places. Now this is the square root. What happens if I needed the cube root? Let's say I wanted to calculate the cube root of 5. Now, looking at the calculator, I spot that there is a yellow sign here which says cube root. Again, remember that at the beginning I mentioned that every button has got 2 functions, at least 2 functions. And anything that's yellow, I need to use the shift button to recall it. So I need to press shift, the root button, and then there is the third, the cube root. So cube root of 5 is equal to 1.70998 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimal places. Now, if I wanted to round this number to 2 decimal places, then that would be 1.71. Then again, as with the power buttons, we can always try to calculate higher roots. For example, if I needed to calculate the 5th root of 35, what would that be? So again, I need to look for the button that gives me any root that I want. So looking at again here, on top of the any power button, I can see that there is this funny looking root which does not have a number in front of the root. So that is the button which I can use to calculate any roots I want. How to call it? Again, I need to press the shift button and then press the X square button. Now the cursor is flashing in front of the root sign. That tells me that I need to give it the root. So we are calculating the 5th root, so press 5. And now I need to tell the calculator to come down and calculate the base. So press the arrow button, and then now the cursor is under the root. So I can type in 35 and then just hit the equal sign. And this is 2.04 to 2 decimal places.